Hello everyone. It's Doug the Dog Guy and my kitty Athena, and we are back here again on the Time to Pet channel for another video. It's been a little while since I made my last video here, so let me start by saying I have missed you and thank you for joining us again. If you don't know who I am the owner and founder of Bad to the Bone Pet Care. We are an award-winning team of pet sitters and dog walkers servicing the majority of Northeast and Central Florida. And I have used Time to Pet to manage my entire pet care business for over 5 years. And I am actually such a huge fan of Time to Pet that they asked me to make a series of videos to go along with their most popular blog post. If you missed my last video here, we talked about the startup costs for starting a new pet sitting and dog walking business. And in today's video, we are going to cover the very exciting topic of contracts. While you get your excitement under control, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on our future content geared to help you and your pet business succeed. And check out the link down in the description below so that you can pull up the blog post on contracts and follow along. Let me start by clarifying that I am not an attorney and nothing in this video should be misconstrued as legal advice. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the importance of having a contract. Then I'm going to talk about how to write and enforce your own contract. We'll talk about some of the most important policies for pet sitters and dog walkers to include in their contract. And then ultimately, we will talk about how Time to Pet can make the contract process so much easier. And because I am not an attorney and nothing in this video is legal advice, I will highly encourage you to have an attorney or a legal professional review your policies and your contract before you roll it out to your clients. As pet sitters and dog walkers, everything we do is filled with liability. We are quite literally going into strangers' homes to care for their animals. Anything can happen at any time. What would happen and what would it mean for you and your business should a pet get sick while in your care? Or let's say the dog has explosive diarrhea and ruins a $1,000 white rug. What would happen? What would that mean? And not just on the pet side of things, but also on the human side of things. When is the client supposed to submit payment? And where do they do that? And what does it mean when your client arrives home early from their vacation? Or they decide to cancel their dog walk as you pull into their driveway to walk the dog? You need to have all of this spelled out in black and white so there is clarity both for you and the client from day one. And I actually have our clients digitally agree to our contract and our terms of service the first time they log into Time to Pet before we schedule the meet and greet to make sure that they understand our policies and how we operate, and make sure that they agree to all of these things before we waste our time and their time in the meet and greet, only to find out that they don't like how we handle payments or cancellations or something like that. Pet sitting and dog walking contracts can be put together in a lot of different ways. Some businesses prefer to have different contracts with different sets of policies for each one of the services that they offer. So I know of businesses that have one contract and one set of policies specifically for dog walks, and then a completely different contract with completely different policies for overnight stays, and so on and so on. Now, however, other businesses may prefer to have just one overarching contract that covers everything. I would say that there are some pros and cons to each different option here, but what I do in my own business is I have everything all in one big document that every client signs. I do this because I think that most people that sign up for our services do not want to have to sign 15 different documents just to get pet sitting and dog walking. And I also don't want to have to keep track of 15 different documents on my end either. Whichever route you decide to go here, you just need to make sure that your contract includes a section that outlines who you are and what you will be doing, and who the client is and what their responsibilities are. Then you need to have a section outlining your services and what is and is not included with these services. And then you need to have sections outlining what will happen with medical issues, with the client's property, and then you need to wrap up the contract with how it will be used and portrayed in the future. Now, I know what I just said was very broad and sounds like a lot, so we're going to dig into each of these sections here in just a second. I'm not going to go through every bullet point in my contract, but we are going to run through the most important bits in each section here. And the first section of my contract is called the acceptance of terms. And this has 3 bullet points. And the most important thing you need to know here is it starts by saying, by agreeing to these terms of service during the sign-up process on Time to Pet, the client, whose name is listed on their Time to Pet account, acknowledges and accepts all of the following terms and conditions. Without accepting these terms, the client will not have the right to utilize Bad to the Bone Pet Care's services. The second section of my contract is the services section. And we start this section by outlining the exact services that we offer, and then we go into some of our requirements around said services, and we talk about how we actually go about offering these services. So for example, on the requirements side, we state that we will not offer services to any pets that have a known history of biting or aggression. We also require that all of our communication remains on the Time to Pet instant messaging feature. And we require that the clients make sure that their notes and instructions are up to date and accurate on the Time to Pet app. The services section also outlines the fact that we will not utilize e-collars or any aversive techniques during our services. And it also shows the clients that we operate on a time window and never guarantee a specific time for our services, which is one of the policies that I would highly recommend you instate in your business. The third section of our contract is the payments and cancellations section. And as you might imagine, we require that all payments be submitted on Time to Pet before the service. And in this section, we also talk about auto pay. We talk about our holiday fees, and we talk about our cancellation policy. We have different cancellation policies for dog walks, pet sits, and a third cancellation policy specifically for services that are booked on holidays. If you want some more information about the specific payment policies that you should have for your pet sitting and dog walking business, I actually have a full 16-minute video over on my Doug the Dog Guy YouTube channel going in detail about payment policies. So we will put the link to that down in the description below. The next section of my contract is the medical section. And this starts with outlining the fact that we will not offer services to any pets that are not up to date on any and all necessary vaccinations per our local requirements, including but not limited to rabies, distemper, and parvo. This is definitely one of those policies that I would recommend you having in your contract. And then in the medical section after that, it goes into exactly what we would do should a pet need medical attention when in our care, and who would hold the liability and be responsible for those vet bills. And obviously, we are putting it in writing right here on day one that we will not be held liable unless willful misconduct is found, and we will not be responsible for any of those vet bills. The medical section also gives us the right to make decisions at the veterinarian should we not be able to contact the client and time is of the essence. We also talk about the client's do not resuscitate wishes and whether they have any monetary limits per these medical needs, and some other things like that. The fifth section of our contract is the property section. And this section starts with first giving us permission to enter the client's home and be on their property. This may seem like kind of a duh moment, but I promise you that if you pet sit and dog walk long enough, you will eventually have a nosy neighbor call the cops on you because they know that their neighbor is out of town and they don't recognize the strange person coming in and out of the home. So you want to make sure that you have that in writing that you can be there. And then in the rest of this section, we go into how we will handle keys and what will happen should a key be lost. On this, I highly recommend that you employ the use of lock boxes. We require that our clients use lock boxes. And then we have permission to use a locksmith should a key ever be misplaced. And we have it in writing here that the client will be responsible for paying for that locksmith. The property section also talks about how we will handle issues with the home and who will be held liable and be responsible for any bills associated with any issues with the home. When I say issues with the home, I mean, let's say, for example, that a big storm comes through while you're there pet sitting and knocks down some of the fence, or you have a leak in the roof after a hard rain. Or let's say you show up to walk a dog and the entire home is standing in 2 inches of water because a pipe has burst. All of these things have happened to me during pet sits, and it is very important that you are waived of any liability and you have the permission to contact the client's handyman or whatever they want you to do in this situation, and that you have it in writing that you will not be responsible for any of those bills. A policy that I have in our property section that I often see left out of pet sitting and dog walking contracts is the fact that all security cameras and surveillance equipment must be brought to our attention, and we will not offer overnight care to homes that have security cameras or surveillance equipment in the bathrooms or bedrooms for obvious reasons. Our contract wraps up with giving us the permission to post photos of their pets on our social media and use those photos for marketing purposes. And it also states that this contract will be valid for any future services, and the terms of this contract can be changed at any time. And it also states that the contract will be interpreted and governed by the laws of our state. If you want a really good template to get you started with all of this, go to the Time to Pet blog post about contracts and then click on their service agreement template. Now, I can tell you that there are a lot of service agreement / contract templates available for purchase online, and I've seen a lot of those, and none of them are as good as this free template that Time to Pet has provided us. I actually used Time to Pet's free template to start my own contract. And all I did was just break it into sections and then expand upon each of the policies that they had already outlined. I mean, this is free. It's available for you right there on the Time to Pet blog, and it's just such a great way to get started. Just don't forget to have an attorney review it after you have made those tweaks. So now that you've written your contract, it's not going to be any good if you don't have your clients sign it and understand it. And I can tell you that when I first started pet sitting many years ago, I would print out 2 copies of this contract and take them to the meet and greet and have the clients sign them. And I carried around this big file folder in my car to keep them all organized. And then eventually I moved over to paying for DocuSign, and I would have clients digitally sign their contracts there. And then eventually, when I got set up with Time to Pet, I realized that I could just upload the contract to Time to Pet and have our clients digitally agree to it there the first time that they log in. And I can tell you that I was a little bit nervous about doing this at first, but I contacted Time to Pet and they assured me that this agreement of terms on the Time to Pet platform is legally binding. So I moved forward with doing it that way, and it's totally simplified the process. So to do this, you will first click on Settings when you're looking at the Time to Pet homepage, and then you will click on Client Settings, and then you will go to the Agreements section. And when you're on the Agreements section, you can either copy and paste the text that you have written out, or you can upload the PDF document. I have tried it both ways over the years, and I have found that if you upload the PDF instead of copying and pasting the text, it looks just a little bit cleaner on the client side of things. And then once you have it uploaded, you can then click on Required By, and you can tell Time to Pet if you want this to be required by all of your clients or just some specific clients if you're going to have different documents for different services or for different clients. And if you make it required for all of your clients, then it will automatically make it a part of the new client onboarding process. And you can double check this by going over to the Portal Settings tab. If you're not already set up with the Time to Pet software, it is the only software that I recommend for pet sitting and dog walking businesses. Like I said at the beginning of this video, they are not paying me to say this. I have used this software myself for over 5 years, and it is crucial to every aspect of my business. And you can actually save 50% off of your first 4 months of Time to Pet if you sign up by going to my special link, which is timetopet.com/Doug. Again, that is 50% off of your first 4 months by going to timetopet.com/Doug. Even if you're not ready to sign up for the software yet, I would still highly recommend that you go check out their blog and check out the Time to Pet Academy. These are both really great free resources that I can guarantee will help you find success with your pet sitting business a lot faster and easier. And while you're looking at those resources, again, remember to hit the subscribe button here on the Time to Pet YouTube channel and over on my Doug the Dog Guy channel so you don't miss out on any of our video content. And with that, I'm Doug the Dog Guy, reminding you to stay positive.